Hi, it's me again with Corel Draw Tips and Tricks. Somebody sent me this photograph and asked how you could trace it, and they're going to cut it out on a plasma cutter. Pictures like this, especially that have been enhanced with like a lens effect, are really hard to trace and almost not worth it. So I just drew one. Now, granted, I didn't take any time. I did this in about 5 minutes. But that is plasma cutter ready, 1/4 inch. Most of the parts are 1/4 inch. So how I drew that, just kind of, and I have very little artistic ability. When you draw something for a plasma cutter, you basically want the size of the file that you're going to cut out. And I think he mentioned in his email that it was 15 inches. Then to make this shape right here, I'm just kind of thinking about it, and I'm going to Control D and make a duplicate. And then I'm just going to move that up there. I'm actually going to make the next one smaller and just move it up into there and have that sort of shape. Take the Smart Fill tool and you've created a new shape. Now this is what I was talking about with the plasma cutter. You need to make this line thickness, the thickness that you minimum going to cut, and I'm going to say 1/4 inch. So I made that a 1/4 inch line. I'm going to go to Object, turn the outline to an object, and left click, right click. I'm going to go ahead and use red hairline so we have a cut line. So there's your exterior and exterior. There's your frame for your plasma cutter or laser. This will work for a laser. Now, there's several ways to draw this, but probably the best way is just to trace one of them. And what we're going to do, you could use the spiral tool, but I found if you just take the 3-point curve line and go from like right there to right kind of like the middle, and you can see it's not very good. You could try holding down the control button to get it a little bit more perfect. Then I'm going to go from there to there, holding down the control button, make it a little more perfect. Go across there. The control button is going to allow you to make it a little bit more uniform. We don't really want those touching, so we're close enough. And we can definitely change that when we get it out. Now the picture is still all one piece, so we can move the picture out of the way, and there's our new graphic. And then you can take the smoothing tool, and I'm going to set it on like 2 inches, and I'm going to smooth out my rugged handwork. It actually doesn't look too bad. But you want to do one that's pretty good. Now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to make that hairline a 1/4 inch line. And I am going to turn that into an object. And then I'm going to left click, right click. And I could have put round caps on this line, but I find it just as easy just to take a ellipse tool and kind of put it right there in the center. Hit the plus key on your keyboard, put that in the center. Take your virtual segment delete key and delete those 2 lines and those 2 lines. And then take your Smart Fill tool. So you've created a new object. Now we need to take another one and make it just part of that curve to use to fill in. So I'm going to take this one. It looks better to me. I'm going to take the 3-point curve line, and I'm just going to connect these 2 lines and then just kind of mimic the curve. It's actually trying to snap to something, but we can figure that out. Now I'm going to just put a straight line across there and use my Smart Fill tool to fill it in. I've got my new object. I'm going to take these lines away because I need several copies of this. So I'm going to Control D and make a duplicate. Control D. I'm going to go ahead and make like 6 or 8 of them. You can hit the plus key on the keyboard. That might be enough. Then I'm going to left click, right click this fill in part. Hit the plus key on the keyboard. Control D, Control D. So now we have enough. Now you could use this as a reference and this is where you're going to find out if you have any artistic ability, which I really don't. So we're going to take the first one and we're going to kind of mimic that and just put it up in there. You want both sides touching, but not too much. You don't want to cut off too much, so you could just reduce that a little bit. Now, while that's here, we could actually hit the plus key on the keyboard and get another one closer, and maybe don't put it in there yet because we're going to use the other parts. So we're going to have this, and truly this is where your artistic ability will come into play or not. I'm creative, but I'm not artistic. And you probably want those touching just ever so slightly. And they don't really have to touch in that corner. That might be the best scenario. That doesn't look half bad. Then we'll take this one. We'll hit the plus key on the keyboard and keep it there. And let's mirror this or mirror it the other way. And then you can always rotate it. So I find this is a lot easier. And if I didn't have to talk and worry about what I'm saying to show you, I guarantee I could do this in less than 5 minutes. But get everything touching. And then you could just make one, I didn't have to make so many copies if you just remember not to. So we need a smaller one here. And just maybe rotate it the other completely way and get back to the box and make it a little smaller. Now, when you do make it smaller, we're losing our 1/4 inch thickness, but we're not changing that much. And you could go a little bit further into there. Now we need this one again, or not. And I would definitely make it completely different than the other one. And just kind of bring it in here. And if you bring it in and then kind of zoom in, and you can use your 4-point handles to reduce it in size, and then move that over just a little bit. And that's pretty good right there. I'm going to set my nudge factor on like 0.01, so I can nudge that down just ever so a little bit. You probably don't want a square shape on this corner. So there's a lot of things we could do. We could take the shape tool and just put that there, and that'll kind of blend in when we weld it. I would take away that part. Now let's get another shape, and this time let's flip it the other way. Bring it in. Some of them are black, some of them are red. It doesn't really matter, because when we smart fill it, we'll fill it in with a color and make it all red for a hairline. And you could really take your time and kind of stand back and look at it. I'm going to actually not put in one of those half circles. I'm going to put in one of these and just kind of rotate it and get the same effect. Because I've noticed on theirs, which theirs is nice, if we could have traced it, it would have been, and to me, it's a little bit rewarding. When you design something, it's yours. You didn't have any help. You had a little help with the idea, but you've completely started from scratch, so you're not tracing anything. We're going to rotate this guy a little bit, maybe flip it the other way, and have it set right in here. Make it smaller, and that's what I'm talking about. This will no longer be a 1/4 inch gap, but you could start off a little bit bigger. Then what I would do is I would take these 2 nodes and just put them up in here, and then you could maybe delete those nodes and it kind of curves in. Now here's where all the magic starts. Just select all this, go up to weld and weld it. Use your smart fill tool. I'm actually going to do it in a blue. Maybe it'll show up on the screen better. And there is your cutout. Always fill it with the smart fill tool, and that will close all your nodes. Now the only thing, like I said, if you wanted a 1/4 inch space, we're 0.28 there. You know, we're 0.29, so we did good. We didn't make anything too small. You don't want it, now in laser engraving, this won't matter. But in plasma cutter, so there's 0.19. That's a fifth of an inch. So that'll work. And I hope the one I'm doing this for found that helpful. And I think it looks every bit as good as that. It'll be your creation. Maybe if I was going to do it over again, I wouldn't put these next to each other. And everything else looks good. And look at that, no, that's my original. Here's my other one I did earlier. So I don't have those two together. I do think my new one looks better. There's more space taken up. I used all the space better. Anyway, I hope that helped them a little bit. Thank you for watching.